Well, hello and good evening to everybody. I'm Dr. Julia Royston. Y'all know me. I start when I'm supposed to start, and we're going to start, and others will join in later. If you have questions, be sure and put them in the chat, put them in the comments and all that good stuff, and we'll get around to it. I'm not going to keep you long, but I just had to jump in. How could I be in business 15 years and don't jump in with some ladies, with some people, and talk about celebrating Black Business Month? So I know you like, well, you get it on the last Monday. Well, I'm gonna get it in where I fit in. How about that?
Right.
So I'm super excited to have two of the four ladies on with me right now. I'm quite sure others will join me later on. If you have comments, be sure and ask the questions. So I want them both to introduce themselves, tell us about their ministry, their business, and where we can find them on social media, website, etc. So, Minister Catherine Morrison, why don't you start? And then Minister Tasha Dawson, you be next.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I'm so honored to be a part of this segment tonight. I'm Catherine Morrison of Catherine Morrison Ministries. Been in ministry since 1996. Of course, my ministry gifts are singing, preaching, recording artist, songwriting, teaching. But I have founded a Royal Queen Academy since 2009 here in Nashville, Tennessee. And we mentor women of all ages, developing character, esteem, and empowering them to live to their fullest and accomplish their purposes. And of course, every Monday night, I host a weekly segment called This Is My Story, where we share women's stories of struggles and triumphs. And currently, as an associate minister at Greater Christ Temple Church here in Nashville, Tennessee, pastored by Bishop Sherman Merritt. And I'm just honored to, have work kingdom business, do kingdom business, just honored to do that.
All
And
right.
you can reach me at KM Ministries. She's put it there, kmministries.net. You can look on my website and you can see all social media activity there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Minister Tasha Dawson.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. My name is Minister Tasha Dawson, and you can find me on TashaDawsonMinistries.com or TashaDawson.com. I've been in ministry now for about, I'd say 22 years. 22 years. So I've been in ministry. Some of my passions in ministry is traveling and missionary work. So I am an evangelist. So I do travel and do missions, teacher, and also I do exhortation and prayer. I think I do have a ministry of prayer as well. So out of that, really kind of birthed my business, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you go to TashaDawson.com, it is going to be pointed to my business, which is theimpactkids.com. So youth is also one of my passions, so youth ministry. And so my business was actually birthed from my passion. So I know that we're going to be talking about that as well. You can reach me on Facebook by Tasha M. Dawson. So again, it's theimpactkids.com, TashaDawson.com, and Tasha M. Dawson on Facebook. And I'm here in
Yay.
Lexington, Kentucky.
Yes, she is. Right up the street, right around the corner from me.
Yeah.
So, and you know me, I'm Julia Royston. BK Royston Publishing is what we'll talk about tonight. And of course, everything you can find at juliakroyston.com. So I'm gonna start in saying how my business actually started. Now, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and in entrepreneurship with my dad, because he had a cleaning service for 40 years of my life. And so, entrepreneurship is really kind of in my blood. But my father passed away, and I started my business in 2008. My father passed away in 2010. So he really wasn't around to really, do a lot of the mentoring. He was proud of me and all that good stuff. But as far as being there step by step, these last 15 years, no, he is not. So honestly, in 2008, I didn't get my first client until 2009. So the business came to me.
Mm.
So I had to say yes. It was my first yes. And so when I said yes, she had like multiple book signings, and that's my publisher. No, I'm not. No, what? No, I just published your book because I had been saying no's prior to that. So I'm like, no, don't. No. Oh well, she done said it now, and she said it in a big, it was standing room only. 'Cause my husband's in real estate, so he has a big rooftop event. It was gorgeous, the food, everything, and the standing room only. And then she said she's back there, and I turned back, and they turned back, and here we are. So your ministry, your business, because I know you both do both. You do ministry, you're in business, for profit, nonprofit, all of it. So does the yes go first, and then the business, and then ministry? Does the call go, then ministry, then business? How did it work for you?
Well, for me, it really started with ministry call first. In 96, because I'd started doing a newsletter. And in doing the newsletter, it was about sharing stories of women's struggles and triumphs. And then with all the subscribers, because it didn't start to really be a business, then with all the subscribers, they wanted to come together and just, fellowship from different areas of the country. And so I started having a women's conference, but still doing the newsletter. And then a season passed, and then I didn't do that anymore because he was shifting me more in ministry. So I had to concentrate more on that. But then it came back full circle as far as with the Royal Queen Academy and doing the same thing, mentoring women and things like that. So it came full circle in 2009 in just a little different path. Now in COVID, it started that like the newsletter again, but it was virtual.
Yeah.
And so it kind of started all over again. I'm having a conference, of course, this year in September the 16th, Her Fragments is Glory, Healing and Deliverance Encounter for Women. So it kind of it shifted for a while, but it came right back around to the business of mentoring / ministry. And then, of course, then that. So, but mine started out in ministry. It started out more in ministry the same year that I was called to ministry.
Wow. Tasha?
I'm just like her. It started with ministry and my passion for young people. I've been around young people, work with young people since I was about 15 years old. And so my first book came from, I had an idea for a book. So I do missions. And every time I speak to young people, they always say, I want to go. How do I go? And I realized that there was no book when I was coming up that talked about missions work or even offered to be a missionary as a profession. And so one day I went to one of my friends' book signings, and I saw a woman there that I didn't know she was a publisher, Miss Julia Royston. And I started talking to her about my book idea. And she said, give me a call. And I said, okay. And it wasn't until about 2 years later till I contacted her about my book. And when I did, she said, I've been waiting for you. I said, you've been waiting for me? I just couldn't believe it, And so then I thought, well, Lord, this must be you, because she said she was waiting on me. And so I wrote the first book. It's called The Adventures of the Impact Kids. And it talks about an incident that we had on one of our mission trips. And so even though we were all adults, I turned the adults into kids so that kids could relate to the characters in the book. So after that first book, maybe about 6 to 8 months later, I had a friend that was going to be opening up a beauty salon. And I just began to tell her, congratulations, I'm so happy for you, because the word says rejoice with them that rejoice.
Got it.
And so I just told her congratulations. As we were talking, she said, that would be a great place for you. And I said, for what? And she said, for your book and stuff. I said, all I have is one book. And she said, well, don't you have like t-shirts and water bottles and stuff? And I said, no. She said, well, just get you some stuff. And she kept saying the word stuff, and it just kind of irritated me. And finally, I told her, okay, I'll go down and see if they have a place for my book. So when I went down and talked to the lady at the market, she began to ask me, what size space do I need? And I said, the very smallest space, because again, my mind is saying one book.
Mm-hmm.
And then she began to say, what's the name of your business? And I said, what? Again, my mind's still saying one book. My publisher keeps saying, this is your book business. It's a business. It's a
Yes.
business. And I just looked at her very puzzled and I thought about my first book. I said, my business is called Impact Kids. And she said, okay. She said, well, what will you be selling? I said, I will be selling t-shirts, water bottles. I just started repeating. And she said, of course, we need a copy of your business license. Of course, we need a copy of your business insurance. And finally, I said, wait a minute, can I write this down so I know what to bring to you? She said, okay. And of course, I had none of that. And she keeps talking. And then I said, well, can I see the lease? And so she showed me the lease. And I was thinking, okay, if I sell this many books a week, I can meet my rent. So that's how I was thinking. And after about 10 minutes after looking at the lease, I said, I'll sign it. She said, today? I said, today. Because I was thinking she was going to go back and check and make sure that I'm a registered business. I have my business license. All this is going through my mind. And I said, but if I sign this lease and this contract, boom, I'm in business. There's no way she can put me out. So just like that, I was in business. So I had no desire before to operate a store. I never even thought about having my own store or anything. It just kind of came out of my natural passion for youth. And then just came out of kind of me just kind of listening and praying about things. And that's how my business was formed. And that was in 2020. So right before COVID, COVID had just hit. That's when I started business.
Wow. Oh my goodness. I remember that. I was like, you did what? You got what? Where are you going to be? Where is you going to be?
Yeah.
I mean, but now she's got more than one book, but she's got a whole boutique filled with gorgeous kids' clothes and all kinds of accessories and everything. So it takes that getting over that fear of that no. You gotta walk by faith and not by sight. I mean, it just really is. So let me ask you this. What is your morning routine like? Because I know that most millionaires and billionaires say that they have a morning routine, and I know people in ministry, they tell us, you don't have to get ready because you prayed up and you studied up and you ready. But even in addition to ministry, what is your ministry, your morning routine look like for ministry and business?
Okay. Well, I'll start. So really for me, prayer is my business plan. So like I said, I never had a plan. So it is praying and also praying that God will lead me to the right people. Because in business, there's a lot of things that you'll have to know and you don't know, whether it's your website, your social media, shipping, anything like that. So, so number one, I always start with prayer. So prayer is my strategy, and that God will lead me and direct me to the right people, the right partnerships and collaborations. Because in business, it is crucial that you have partnerships, because a lot of things are happening that you may not know about, but it's those partners that are really link you in on, hey, this is happening in the city, or hey, you may need to go here or there. So for me, it's prayer. Also for me, social media. So I need to stay on top of the trends. So since I do deal with kids, what are they wearing? What are they talking about? What's the new Instagram link that they're doing? Barbie was really big this year, so, so I have to kind of stay on top of that. So I am using social media a lot. And really just the community. Collaboration partnerships are huge for me. So I started out in a market. It was a business incubator where I did meet a lot of other business owners. And so one big thing that they've helped me to do is develop that business entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah.
So like I said, I wasn't even thinking about business. So if you would have told me at that point, well, you're going to have to run your own social media accounts, your own website. You're going to have to do your own shipping. That would have been too much for me to handle at that time because I couldn't even wrap my head around this is a business.
Right.
But being in that market around other entrepreneurs, or even in ministry, being around other ministers. Today I had a lunch with an apostle. And she just started talking about that there's different levels of joy. She had just lost her brother. And she began to say, when my joy returned. When she said that, I said, that could be a book.
Yes.
Yes.
Is
Yes.
what? I
Oh,
said,
Say,
my
oh
joy
yes.
returns. I said, that's a book. We
Yeah,
can
it is.
have
Yes,
it
it
right
is.
there at
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say, ministry and your business kind of collide.
Yes.
Still having those partnerships, that right people around you that's going to motivate you, that's going to keep you learning, that's going to keep you sharp. Iron sharpens iron is very
You
important.
got it. Yeah, it's key. It's really key. Catherine, I always say Catherine. I mean,
Yeah,
Catherine.
that's all right. Kath is
Yeah.
fine. Kath is
Minister
fine.
Catherine Morrison. So,
Kath
what's
is
your morning routine like? Like, what's
Well,
your
I
morning?
come and go, but my morning routine is mainly getting up, praying, and then I have a devotional that I read to keep me encouraged, and I look at the scripture that's in the devotion, and then I just sit and just meditate, to the Lord, just getting direction for the day or direction for the ministry. He may be shifting me to do something else or something that day or whatever, or do it a little different, or give me creative ideas, And so I just write them down. I just keep writing things down, and little by little, bring them to pass. The thing is, where as far as the business side, I still have to finish doing my 501c3 for the Royal Queen Academy. I have to complete that. And I always keep hearing Julia, she said, get it done. Just do it.
Am I
So
haunting you?
she is my
Oh,
motivation. And
wow.
I just
Oh,
said,
wow.
and I come on social media every day and I see her, I said, okay, here's my motivation. But my thing is, I got to get up and do it.
Yeah.
Can't just sit and just keep thinking about it. You
Yes.
got to do it. And
Yeah.
so that's where I am right now with that, just finishing that 501c3, the nonprofit for the Royal Queen Academy, so I can take it to the next level. And
Exactly.
with
And it's
product and
easier
things.
now than ever to do it while that short window, while the shortened the short form is available. Do it now before you have to do like my dad did years ago, and it was a long,
That
arduous
long
process.
form.
Oh my Lord, that process was long and expensive. And I did it in 2020. I'm like, what did they just do? So go ahead and get it done. Get it done. If you need help, reach out.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, you need to get it done. Okay, just like I'll keep you accountable about that. Mine is the being the government certification. I haven't done that yet. Making sure woman certified and minority certified. Now I fit those categories. I just haven't completed the paperwork and put the form in, but I'm like, I'm doing business other kind of way. I don't need it, but I do. I'm seeing it more and more and more. So as I see it more and more, it's the same exact way. Now I haven't. It's on my list, but it's not. So I have the same routine. I pray, and me and the Lord in the bathroom is big time. The shower, praying while I'm in bed, praying up. Then that whole piece, and then He impresses upon me really hard certain things that I must get done. I have to get done. That must be accomplished by this day and by this time and by this issue. And I'm another one that the business came to me. I didn't have a business plan. I haven't gone through any of those business services. I encourage people to do it, but I had so much history, so much foundation in that. I mean, I was typing my dad's contracts when I was 14. I was answering his phone at 9. So I saw all of that up close and personal. So it's not that I don't need it, because if there is opportunity, I do it. But as far as that's concerned, no. All right. So Dr. Wakandia West is going to join us. Hey, Mom, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you? I don't know if you can hear the thunder.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
headed your way, and I'm like, Lord.
Yes. Are you headed back down this
I
area?
am. I'm headed to Florida. No, I'm coming your way. I'm coming to Miami. From Montgomery. That's next week. But this week is Miami, and for the radio station to do, I don't know. I was like, well, Lord, you control the weather, you control the winds, you take care of all of that. If I'm supposed to be on that cruise, it's gonna happen. If I'm not, you take care of all of that. So Dr. Wakandia West, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about your business. Because we've been talking for a few minutes. So you
Hello,
go ahead.
hello. I am Dr. Wakundia West. I am down here in Mobile, Alabama, Sweet Home, Alabama, where I've been a solopreneur for 10 years. This is my 10th year. Woohoo! So, what I do is I help students increase their ACT score. You know, the ACT is basically the college entrance exam where
Mhm.
they can declare their major, they can receive scholarship money, whether it's athletic or academic money. So that's my business, ACT prep. I also provide ACT professional development for various school systems. I work with students all over the country, local, near and far, virtual, in person, you name it. I try to do it. I've also authored 3 books. One, ACT Crack the Code, which is right behind me. Also authored a study journal and an ACT curriculum calendar, which is always available to school systems and to the teachers.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So Dr. West is doing major things with schools, but she's also in ministry too as well. They've been having us speak at churches and stuff. I've been seeing you. I follow you, girl. I see you. They got you up in the pulpit. Hello.
You're right.
Yeah, they got you up in the pulpit. I see you. You've been doing a lot of encouragement and empowerment. So the last question we just had is now are you fully retired teaching, or you just transitioned from teaching to
I
entrepreneurship?
resigned.
Okay.
I didn't officially retire. I resigned. I taught in the school system for almost 16 years. Started teaching when I was 22. I'll be 48 in December. So 2000, I started teaching 1998. That seems like so long ago.
Oh yeah.
And I resigned in 2013, pulled my money out of the state system, and I put it into my business. So
Wow.
yeah,
she did that thing. So tell us a little bit about the last question I just had was, tell us a little bit about your morning routine. Like, what do you do? Because they always say, millionaires and billionaires, they have a routine. They even have a dress code. Now I'm getting a little I'm working on that and that, but I know that different situations you have to change up your gear and your clothes or whatever.
Yes.
So I'm learning now. God's sending me back kind of into my church world, quote unquote,
Yes.
not church world where I've been, where it's just long as you're fully clothed, you're good. But I mean, I posted a picture not too long ago and I had a hat on. Lord have mercy. And I had 2 hat pins from my mama and the whole 9 yards.
I saw that picture. I
love
love
you
it.
see that, child?
Oh,
I was like, oh, and
Yes.
one of the young women in the audience knew me from before, but we just all happened to be in the same place. And she's like, now that's the girl I remember. I said, baby, I'm still under here. It's just not required for all them clothes.
Yes.
But so we're, so about your morning routine.
Yeah. So I'm a single mom. I'm divorced. I have 2 children. So my morning routine has to be pretty consistent and very intentional. So I'll say my morning routine starts with preparing either the weekend before or the night before. So that way we can hit the ground running. So morning routine, before I even get out the bed, I usually sit up and I'll usually kind of meditate and pray, just giving my gratitude to God. God, thank you for another day, a day I've never seen before, a day I'll never see again, so forth and so on. Praying for my scholars. I call them my ACT scholars, the students, the schools who I'm going to see, and praying for my own personal children. I do that before I ever even set my foot on the floor. And then after that, I usually get myself together. And then I get my children together.
Yeah.
Now some people might say, oh, that's selfish. Well, mama got to be together before the children can be together.
Put your mask on first.
That's right.
Mama has to be healthy so the kids can be healthy. I'm setting the standard. I'm setting the example So prayer, meditation, giving thanks, and then we're getting ready for, I get myself together. And then I get my kids up, their clothes are, my daughter, her clothes are in her room. My son, I put his clothes in his room. And, they get sick of me, but it's okay. It's, we have to do what we have to do.
Yeah, you have
like
to
my
really
son. Let me throw this out there, Julia. My son is like, Mom, we got to take a bath every night.
Oh, baby, baby, baby.
It's that kind of thing. That's he's 12 and he's all boy, and it's like, Mama, how many times we got to take a shower? We got to do this every night.
Yeah, right. It's that. Yeah, y'all know about I didn't have any brothers, so I'm like, what? That just seems gross to me. But I had two younger sisters. I mean, there's 3 girls in the house. I'm like, oh, you're gross. Boys are gross.
It's a boy thing.
Yeah, it is. And sometimes they can get away with it, and sometimes they can't.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch gears just a little bit.
Okay.
So I have to ask all of you, whoever wants to go first can. I subscribe to the words of "you do it afraid." My biggest regret for me, and this is just Julianne personally, is I don't want to live in regret. Even if it doesn't work out like I want to, I don't want to say I was too chicken, and that was my grandfather's nickname, chicken. But I'm not too chicken to start something.
Yeah.
Because I think in my mind, this is just me. Y'all don't have to agree. But in my mind, I'm thinking I'm limiting what God can do. I'm not honoring him and moving forward in faith. Now, I'm not talking about wild and crazy and, getting in debt above my means. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm just saying it's something that meets within my skill set. It's within my business vision and mission. It's something I really want to try to do. So how do you get over me? It's about not being in regret, even if it doesn't turn out, even if I go to an event and only sell these many books and I didn't get what I thought I would, at least I know. But how do you get past? Because I find so many times, and y'all gonna help me in this one. How do you get over that fear of either no, rejection, or failure? One of those 3. How do you get past that? Because I know a lot. Well, I'm fearful of they don't just start. They want to be. Is that a perfectionism? Are they trying to be perfect, or what? What do you think that is?
I know with me, because I've struggled with rejection off and on through my life, but recently, in being delivered in the mindset from rejection. I have to think more on embracing the purpose and what he's put in me to do, why I do what I do, and being obedient to what he's called me to do, regardless of the result.
Right.
And that's what has helped me to just push me on to keep going. Even in spite of, like you said, it may not work out well. It may not be, as successful as I thought it would. It may not yield the results that I think it should, as long as I've done it. And I'm going to tell you a testimony. Of course, we started this tour, Her Fragrance's Glory tour, and they wanted us to come to Tupelo, Mississippi. And I said, well, okay, it was supposed to be pre-registration because we're coming from Nashville to Tupelo, 3.5 hours away. But there was not any pre-registration. No one had pre-registered.
Oh, wow.
We had staff there in Tupelo that wanted to host it and have us come there, which was only really 2 people. And then the church had opened their doors for us to have it there. And I said, well, I think I need to cancel this because I'm not getting the results from the registration. The Lord, he said, you must needs go to Tupelo.
Come on through. Preacher. Oh, wow.
I said, but Lord, I'm, because I'm looking at my money. I'm like, well, and I've got a staff coming with me. I've got the people who's going to be on program, which was 3 speakers, and then they had 2 people. So it was 6 of us that was going, but only 3 was participating in the program. And I said, well, Lord, he said, you must needs go to Tupelo. Went to Tupelo. There was only 3 people there. There was the woman that was taking care of the hosting it with the food and all that, setting all that up. And then she had somebody helping her. And then there was a woman at the church to make sure the church was open and everything was set in the church. Those 3 people were there, along with the 6 people, 6 of us that came. That's all that was in the room. But I'm gonna tell you, when we went on through it, like the place was full.
Yeah, like it was packed. I know.
And I had all these registration bags and pens and everything. And I went there, I said, okay. So I had to get my mind set. I said,
Yeah.
okay, Lord, there's a purpose. If it's just for one purpose, that's a purpose. And true enough, we went to the first segment. The first session was defining the fragments in your life. So they begin to define what fragments are. Of course, those are the broken places and things like that. Then it went to the second session in exposing and the effects and the effects of the fragments. She got to talking. There was a woman there that was a first lady that could not openly express how she wanted, because she needed a safe place to express and to be healed. And the speaker began to talk about the fragments. We was Facebook Live. And so she said, we need to cut this Facebook Live for right now, because I got a feeling we're going to minister to somebody. True enough, that woman got to hollering out. We had healing and deliverance right there.
Right.
For that one woman. There was another girl that opened a church and was, carrying on things at the church. And she was dealing with feeling dead because she had lost her mom. And then 6 months later, she lost her dad. Okay, I just lost my son. And so I'm still dealing with grief, but the Lord had me ministering to her. And then that's when he let me know, he let me know that it was worth it all.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you got the response that you needed,
That's
it's what
it,
I've
exactly.
called you to do.
Yes.
Don't think about the rejection. Don't think about who's going to be there, who's
That's
not,
it.
who's going to receive it. You do what I told you to do. If it's just for one person. And
That's
since
it.
then, that really, that helped me so much.
You
Didn't mean to get all emotional.
Well, you're fine, because we all got issues. I mean,
but honey,
Tasha just lost her brother, and Dr. West just lost her sister. So I mean, we've had on this call we've got loss, grief, and that old song "Jesus Will Carry You Through."
He will carry you through.
That's what he's doing to all of us.
Amen.
He's
That's
carrying
that's
all the
what
way
helped
through.
me to go on, and just like you said, I like what you said, Julius. Like, you don't want to live and regret that something that you're supposed to do, and you didn't do it, and you regret.
But if he says you must needs go, like he said, we must needs go to Joppa. So therefore, he'll take care of it. But some people never get to that part. Some people never get to the part of the hearing the voice of the Lord, the must needs go piece, because I'm believing God for God to do miraculous things for you all being on here tonight, because you all easily could have said, I've got this going on, I've had this happen, I've had that happen, I don't need to be talking about nothing with no business, I need to handle my own business, whatever. And but God honors sacrifice. He always has and always will honor sacrifice. Okay, so y'all just shifted the whole thing, right? So he honors sacrifice, and it's not that we're gonna jump over grief, because we all have to go through it, we all have to handle it, we all have to do it like we need to do it, and God will take us through. But there are some times that we have to reprioritize life. Now, for me, this is a key thing for business, because I have been in a dark family waiting room in the dark, midnight, 10 o'clock, everything dark, and other people sleep. Hi, this is Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing. How can I help you? And I got a husband in ICU and getting ready to have surgery, and all of that mass going on. But the person on the line is wanting to do business with me. I have to have, I'm on family leave, as you well know. With family leave, you don't get no check. If you come and work for hours, you get a check. But if you're on family leave, all they doing is holding your job. They're not. So what do you do with $200 or $300 from a check? So therefore, I'm on that call thinking, all right, I'm not going to get set out, but no, I got bills. How can I help you? And I've got my laptop up, So those kinds of things
Mhm.
of dealing with fear of losing everything. I did the same thing with COVID. 2020,
Mhm.
7 contracts in one day.
Right.
Mhm.
One day gone.
Mhm.
Julia, I just can't do it. And I had to say, I totally understand. Jesus can come tomorrow. He can come in the next few minutes. The whole world could go calamity. Do you really need a book with that? I mean, I got it. But by that August, because I kept going, he's, 17 was by that July. But March 13th, March 20th, 2020, I didn't know what was going to happen. I had no clue. Only God knew with all of us. So that fear of the no and the fear of the nobody show and nobody come and nobody be there, that's a real place. That's something that y'all got to pray for me, because that's something I struggle with all the time. Where's my next client? And Brian keeps saying, God's got you. I got you. I'm
It's
like,
true.
but as an entrepreneur, you still are thinking, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing I've learned over the past 10 years is that your gift will keep on giving no matter what. In the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a divorce, separation, your gift is always going to make room for you, and it's going to put you before great men. The fear of no, to me, no just means not now. No means you're not the right client for me. No means that you said no, but God is going to give me 2 or 3 more people in your place, right? So when things are familiar to us, we're comfortable.
Yeah.
And to me, comfort can be a danger zone. It can be a zone of destruction and a zone of where you're just content. Now, contentment is good, you know. However, you've got it, every round goes higher. So that no is good for me. It was good for me. You know how the Bible
Yeah, but
says
it don't feel good
it
though.
was good for me
It
that I was
scares me
afflicted.
though.
Because
Preach
see,
to me, because that
right.
scares me though.
But see, it's gonna put a drive in you. It's gonna make you look elsewhere. It's gonna make you call that number that you were sitting on. It's gonna make you contact that person who somebody told you to contact, but you were afraid. And now I've got to contact them. To piggyback on is she Miss Morrison, Dr. Morrison?
Minister
Minister
Pastor
Morrison.
Morrison, Minister Morrison.
See, with me, when I resigned, I was comfortable being in the 4 walls of my classroom. I was married at the time, but I was about to go through a divorce and separation. I had insurance, I had the steady teacher paycheck. I was familiar with that. I love teaching. I was really good at it. Not to blow my own horn, but I was really good at it. I could do it in my sleep.
Girl, toot your own horn. Go.
But let me tell you, like Minister Morrison was talking about God. See, we walk by faith, not by sight.
Yep.
And I told one person that I was going to resign. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell a whole lot of people because I did not want them to talk me out of it. That's number one. You can't tell everything. So I went for it because you know what God kept telling me? He said, somebody is going to do what you keep thinking about doing.
Oh.
And honey, when I tell you, I got to my computer and I typed that letter of resignation so fast. I was afraid. I was nervous. This was unfamiliar to me, to just step out and just quit a job.
Like, who does that?
Who does that? But that was playing in my head. Somebody, because I always wanted to run my own company full time. And he just kept saying, somebody is going to do what you keep thinking about doing. And I was going to be so upset and so angry.
Yeah, you're going to be mad about that. Yeah.
If somebody was jumping in making this money that I'm making,
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you'd have been hot mad at that.
I had to jump off.
Yeah.
I had to jump off and do it because this is the thing. We say Well, what if nobody shows up? What if
Yeah.
it doesn't work? But well, guess what? Change that. What if it does work?
Yes.
What if somebody does show up?
Yeah.
That's
You
the
got to
truth.
flip it. You got to flip it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happened to me just the other day. I'm like, okay, and it was so terrible. It was so terrible. I had my mind set that I was going to be rejected. It was going to be a no. And then
Mhm.
God had to jump me. He jacked me so hard. He said, "Are you?" He said, "I take care of the no's.
Right.
You prepare for the yes." And
Yeah.
he said, "You're going in the meeting and you're not even prepared. You don't have the contract. You don't have the receipt. You don't, because you're thinking they're going to automatically say no." And when I got there, when I got out, I had to confess to Brian. I was like, and when I got there, met the people, the whole nine, they were like, "Okay, so what's next? So what do we do? Okay, when are we gonna ready to start? Okay, well, I'll reach out." I'm like, "Oh God." And I told you, you got, unfortunately, I
And
got
that's
in a
the
hurry.
thing,
You know, when I hear
Julia,
his voice,
you got
I
to
got in a hurry.
always be prepared.
Always.
Always.
Well, yeah, and I was just like, well, I was just kind of fumbling. I was braced. I really was bracing myself for the no, and God jumped me big time hot and said, "No, you're not preparing for the yes. So where's the contract and where's the receipt for the money that He could give you? Are you prepared for all the next steps? Did you?" And I was, oof, yeah, and I got a yes, and I was like, "Oh, I can't do that again. I can't do
That's
it." And
right.
I just,
That's
based
right.
my own prejudice, my own thoughts. Oh
Mhm.
Lord. Anything you want to add, Minister Tasha?
Yeah, for me, it was really, I know Minister Morrison talks about rejection and Dr. West talks about no. For me, it was really failure. So, when I do something, I want to make sure that I can succeed in doing it. And like I said, when I first wrote my book, it took me 2 years from the first time I told you that I had a book idea before I actually called you. So in that time, I was battling with self-confidence or Godfidence.
Yeah.
So, when I get to that place of I'm comfortable, like Dr. West said, doing things that I know how to do. I can do it with flying colors. I don't need no notes. But when it comes to something that's totally out of my wheelhouse, then that's when that, oh, well, what if it doesn't go good? Or, if you don't achieve what you think you should be achieving, that kind of creeps in.
Yeah.
So usually what I have to do for that is I remember the scripture about God hasn't given us a spirit of fear.
Yeah.
Power, love, and a sound
Come
mind.
on.
So usually when I start feeling that way, I'll start praying. Lord, this is what you have before me. Help me to get through this. Or I may even start calling some of my pushers, my motivators, like you said your husband is. He said, I got you. God got you. So I'll start calling people. This is what's up before me. What do you think about it? And I know the people that call, they'll say, yeah, you can do it. You got this. My hype people to help me.
Girl, get your hype man. Get your hype man.
Everybody needs
Yes.
a hype person.
Everybody
There's
needs
one
hype people.
person you can call and they will hype you up to, you can do anything. And so for me, that's what I kind of need. Something else that I've learned about myself, normally if it's something that's out of my wheelhouse, the Lord will agitate me.
Yeah.
Like I just started getting agitated. Like, why are you bringing this to me? Why are you talking to me about this? So I know when I start to feel a little agitated, it's usually something there. And what I've learned to do is I act very quickly on it. Because
Yeah.
if I don't, I'll talk myself out of it. Even though God is trying to push me to do it, if I wait too long, I done talk myself all
Yeah.
the way out of it. Nobody's done it before. Why would you even think you could do this? You've done this, but you can't do this. Even with the first book, so I've done technical writing for work. I write sermons, but I had never written a children's book. And, myself was saying, how are you going to write a children's book? You don't even have kids. And sometimes I'll have kids ask me, do you have kids? And I'll say, no, and they just kind of look at me funny, like, well, how are you writing this book? And you don't even have kids. But, it's those times where you just have to say, well, God, you gave it to me. You put these gifts and talents, in me. And like Dr. West said, you're going to bring me before the right people, the great people, you know.
Yeah.
And so if you brought me to it, you know, you're going to bring me through it. So sometimes it's just a lot of, you know, self-talk from those negative thoughts, praying, and then getting your hype people behind you.
Yeah, come on, hype people. I love it. I love it. Okay, so my last question. Nobody's in the comments, so that's fine. I can keep on talking. So how important now, you know, I know Dr. West says I'm a solopreneur, but and I'm kind of the same way. So how important, this is something I've had to learn, especially in the last 5 years, because my hype people told me, you're only going to be able to go so far. You're not going to go further and go further and faster unless you have a team. I'm learning how to do that. That's something I'm really learning, because by the time I teach you, train you, I could have done it 10 times, and you know, so I eliminate that. But I'm learning over time that you can't do everything. And I'm 60. I'm not ancient, but I'm 60, and my body says I'm 60. So my body's saying, okay, hold on, big girl. You can do a lot, and you will gonna do a lot, because I know I'm gonna live, because he done gave me a 3 to 5 year plan. So I know the next 5 years covered. What happens after that, I don't know about that. But the next 5 years, he's giving me the plan. So I know, okay, so I got 3 to 5 years to focus, but I have to do things differently. So how has a team become important to you, and what does your team look like? Not necessarily the people, but what does your team look like? Is it just a prayer team, or is it actually people team in your business with you, or is it just outsourcing? Because so long I had outsourcing, now I have actual, you know, people working with me doing different things. So let me know.
I can say, so I am a solopreneur. I say that because I run my LLC, and I've done it for 10 years. Now, every once in a while, well, a couple of years ago, I had an assistant, because when I first resigned, I primarily did after school tutoring. But what happened, that blossomed into me obtaining contracts with different school systems. So my team became the school system. So for instance, for the past 2 years, I had a contract with the largest school system in the state of Alabama, working with over 3,000 students. So when you think about copies and books and all of those different things, well, I couldn't print those copies or whatever. So in that contract, the school system took care of copies. The school system, they purchased my books. You know, all 3,000 students got a book. So when it comes to my personal ACT prep, when private students pay for my services, then I outsource. I go to Office Depot, and they print my copies. I try to take my hands off whatever I can outsource to get someone else to do. That's what I do, because I'm able to move a lot faster, get more done when I'm able to do that. So as far as a team, like I said, I'm the solopreneur. I'm the face of the brand. However, when I get contracts with school systems, the way I write up my proposal, and sometimes you might think, well, they might say no. Back to that no again. They might say you got to bring your own copies. Now, when it's a small school system, I do my own copies, because it's simple. It's not that difficult. But when you're talking about 2,000, 3,000 students, I put in the contract, you all need to supply the copies, get the copies, ship them to the schools, this, that, or whatever. And it works out. So that's my take on a team. But no, you definitely can't do it all by yourself.
No, you
got to have some kind of system in place.
Well, you got a team. Them school districts, they got people just sitting there waiting to do whatever Dr. West needs done.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, so Minister Catherine, you took a team with you to Tupelo, Mississippi. Child, my
Yes,
God,
I
my
did.
God. So how
I
did you pick
did.
them or did they pick you?
Well, they've been working with me all along. The three people that were that was supposed to be the speakers on the program were basically my mentors from the time I started ministry. So they was a part of the team anyway. And even when they have events and things, and I'm a part of their team. So we all are kind of like a collective collaboration of sisterhood. And so with that, and then I have someone that does the registration, and of course she works with me with the Royal Queen Academy. So she kind of just works across the board. And then there's a couple other people when they used them, they just wanted to be there for support. So I used them for prayer or whatever. But in essence, they all just kind of got in and helped. We helped set up, make sure we tore down. Just the whole thing like that. So we just all collaborate. I can't even talk today. working
Right,
together,
right.
working
We know.
together with it. So that's basically it. But as far as my day-to-day team, I'm like her. I'm a solopreneur, so I do my little flyers, and I'm learning more
You're
and more
doing
about
really
my
good.
flyers.
They are really looking good, girl. I was
I'm
meant to
learning
tell
on my.
you, you're doing good. Yay! I've seen growth. Honey, I'm the same way. I go back to my early Canva and I go, ooh, that was a mess. And I've come a long way. I mean, the more you do it, the better you get.
The better
Yeah.
you get,
You're
yeah.
doing good. I'm proud of you.
But
Yay!
I do my little flyers and I do my little posts, and that's basically it. For right now. But it's mainly when I have those events is when I really need somebody to come and just really help set up. But even with registration bags, I because I'm just here, I'm retired, so I can just sit everything up, go down the line, pick up stuff, put the bags together, and get everything together. So once we get to the event, everything that I need for the event is there. I just put it all in my car, and then that's
You
when the
can't be on
team.
the stage preaching and laying hands and casting out demons, and you can't do it all. I'm sorry.
Right.
That don't
So,
work. You can't do all of that.
you can't.
It doesn't
So
work.
it's mainly the hands-on at an event more so than behind the scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
Minister Tasha?
For me, so for my business, I have one employee and two
Yay!
volunteers. Yeah. But with it being retail, sometimes, that staff changes or that team changes. With the people who pray, so I have people praying for me in my ministry as well as over my shop. Because, they're one and kind of the same. So at my shop, I'm doing ministry. On my ministry, when I'm doing ministry, I'm talking about my shop. So the people that I ask to be in prayer with me, they're praying over both. So when I'm going to minister, they're coming and praying, and also they're praying at my shop. And kind of like with what both of the other guest speakers said, depending on what you're doing, your needs may change. So you may have to call in extra help. Or if it's a smaller kind of event, or sometimes I'll do pop-ups. If I do a pop-up, then I'll just go by myself. I don't need as many people. So it really just kind of depends on the event, what I'm doing at the time. So I'm still working as well. And so that one staff helps me to keep my shop open while I'm at my other job.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She's single. Can't you tell? She's doing it all. That's what I did. I had 4 jobs, 5 jobs, 10 jobs, girl, wherever it was, honey, whatever. Old folks, you tell them, whatever your hands find
to do.
But baby, when you sing a
do
lot
it,
of
all you might.
honey, she is doing it. And the shop is beautiful too. It really, really is. It's a gorgeous boutique. And please, if you're in the Lexington area, as I say, can get there a scooter, a plane, train, automobile, a car, a scooter, get there because it's gorgeous and it's doing very, very well. I'm really proud of her because I'm one of the ones who said, "You did what? You sat? Wait a minute. Well, okay. Well, come on, Jesus. All right, you're gonna figure that out." Now, me, of course, my ride or die is Brian Royston. He goes with me everywhere. He don't play no games and. We got it down to a science. I can't even have him pack the car. He's just got us where everything goes. The cooler goes here. His
Cross
backpack
country.
there. Yeah.
I'll be looking to see what y'all gonna be next. It's like,
Okay,
where they at now?
listen.
Living through her. Living
Right,
through
where
her.
they at now?
Listen.
I
Let me
love
tell
it.
you
I
something.
love it.
God did that, honey.
I
God
love it.
did that for me. He did that. He
Yeah.
brought that man in my life. It was, for a reason, because it, it is just it's amazing because he made him specifically for me, because we'll have to get into another show because I'm gonna have to go right now. But we need to talk about that whole relationship thing, being an entrepreneur and having relationships. How does that work? Now,
Mhm.
me, it's he's still a guy and I'm still a woman, so we get on each other's nerves. But the big picture, like the overall goal,
Mhm.
no, no,
Y'all still on the same team.
oh man,
That's what
Mhm.
matters.
I'll fight over my team. Hold on, now you come on. What? No, not my good health. Oh no, because the enemy seeks to kill, steal, and destroy.
Yes.
And of course, I see it so often. I'm like, well, why couldn't you get along? You knew she was entrepreneur before you got with her.
Right.
Like, you really was gonna change her? Like, what in the world? I mean, I'm gonna tell y'all honestly. I know we're not talking about relationships, but like the second month we've been out 2 or 3 times, and the second month I took him to an event. I was singing more then. I didn't have probably but one book. No, I don't think I had any books in. I was just had CDs, and I had an event in Indianapolis, 100 miles away. I said, all right, you say you like me, so let's go see whether you can handle this or not.
Mhm.
And it was a gospel singing, gospel comedian thing. So they had a gospel comedian and then a gospel singer. And so I sang whatever. It was a whole big deal. And then afterwards, I had my CDs and people bought them. And I said, you hold the money. Well, if you can't handle $60, how you gonna handle? I didn't sell about 6 or 7 CDs that night because there's so many artists. But I'm like, he was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you handed me your money. I'm like, you can't handle $60. How are we gonna grow and get any bigger? So I was gonna test you out and see if you really was gonna hold the $60, or you gonna be standing over there mad. I see people like that. They in relationship with people. They just wrong person on your team, wrong person. No, you don't need that man or woman. Everybody looking jealous like
That's
they
true.
man. Up,
That is
Yes.
true.
has to go. Up, even if it's
Mhm.
not a romantic relationship. You got the wrong people all swole up and mad and huffing it. No, time to go.
Mhm.
Time to go.
Right.
Because a lot of times with business, they're not just looking at the face of the business, they're
Yeah.
looking at who's with you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
who's on your team.
Mhm.
And they were like, no, I can't work. I like her, but
Mhm.
who's that dude? Who's that woman?
Mhm.
Who's that?
Yeah.
That means a lot. It really
That's
does.
true.
I've learned that down through time. And matter of fact, I had to.
Did you fire somebody?
I think she froze
I
up.
think she froze.
Hours
Did
of
you have to fire somebody?
most of the things the Lord gives a faith walk. So I don't necessarily have the means up front. And so you could tell they're looking, well, how are you gonna do? Well, how are you gonna? And I
Yeah.
had to let them. I said, I don't mean no harm, but I'm walking by faith. And if
You
if
gotta
you
let
can't support that, then I'm sorry.
yeah.
And
They
so I
got
had to kind of let some people go because it was interrupting with my faith. Because I'm still
Wow.
trying to go on and do what He told me to do.
That's right.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure. I mean, I gotta get y'all back on. We gotta talk about something else, and we gotta talk about, that whole life of walking by faith and not by sight. But
Yes.
I appreciate you all for this evening and everything you all have done. And I'm really, really thankful for everything. And I apologize because Miss Natasha Harris, she just couldn't log on this evening, but that is her information, Broken Wings Literacy Center.com. Be sure to reach out for her. And then Minister Catherine Morrison, that is her information there. And those of you who are going to watch the replay, awesome. Minister Tasha M. Dawson, that's her information, TashaMDawson.com, and Dr. Wakandia West Instructional Services.net. If you all, I have a call in a minute, but if y'all would just hold on after we end, I have a request. So you all be blessed. Thank you so much for joining me. In Jesus' name. Bye-bye.
Bye.